great. And then perfect. And you can send it over, and after then
Yes.
we. Great,
Yeah.
great, great. Okay, so I was thinking about like the story and
Yeah.
also about the quick response that you had. It was very surprising. I think we were still in shock, so I couldn't really respond to it yet. So I couldn't really understand it yet until we really got over the first shock of the first week, So,
Yeah.
and I really appreciate your email. And yeah, I would really happy to hear. I give you a short background. Of course, you all already know about the situation
Yeah.
and what happened. It's just now not only the situation in Israel, and the economics was also
Yeah.
was a little bit tough, and also the government that came was shaking a lot the Israeli high tech industry. So there was a lot of uncertainty even before this attack, before this
Hmm.
crazy war, and now everything is really shaky. So
Hmm.
I, I'm very happy to hear your story because of
Hmm.
course, we are not still in such a scale level of war like you have in Ukraine, thank God, and I
Hmm.
hope we won't gonna scale to that. But I think many founders, many CEOs, many companies are really in a shaky situation. They really don't
Yeah.
know how to handle it. And yeah, so let's start with your story. Like
Yeah.
where did it find you, your company? In which stage were you? And,
Yeah.
and and like how did you react? Like the first thing that happened?
So yeah, we started our startup around year and a half before the big war started, but we had this war for 9 years, but it's been kind of like slow and not that big war on just a little region in Ukraine, and it's a bit far away from capital, so on. So a lot of people even just forget about that. And on 24th February, it just become way more bigger and full scale. So where have we been? We went through Y Combinator. It's one of the best acceleration program in the world for startups. We just received $2 million investment. For me personally, me and my co-founder, we've been, I would say, on the peak of our success in terms of how we feel, because like 2 or 3 months before the war, Forbes put us on a cover, and when you visit any kind of like shops in Ukraine, so there are my face everywhere. I just moved to a new amazing penthouse in the center of the Kiev, so life been extremely amazing. But I always kind of like been reading this political news, and I kind of like been feeling that the big war would be uninventable, and they eventually would attack us. Nobody believed me in my team, and so on. But I still been pushing that we need to prepare. We need to do this emergency backup. Everybody need to be prepared. I even wrote documentation for my team members, basically very similar advices which I shared over the emails, what they should do, and how we would react in case we would be without electricity and so on. So I basically like try to cover all possible scenarios, even if we would have a nuclear war. What should we do even in this case? How we would operate, or how we will then reconnect and so on. I hope that it would not happen, but still, it's better to be prepared than not prepared in this case. So one of the best decisions I did, I relocated a week before full-scale war started. I relocated a few people who been living near border at this region. Let me show a map. I think that would be easier to explain. Deep state map. Uh, Screen share. Here we have in Ukraine, we have deep state map where we basically see changes of the war every day. So I
Yeah.
thought the war would be at this region, the Donetsk and Luhan region, but eventually it's become a full scale from Kiev to Crimea, And basically, this lion is same size of lion when the Nazis during World War II in Europe, because it's just very, very, very long line. The green color, it's what Ukrainian army recaptured back, and red, it was still occupied by Russia. So I thought it would be war would be here on the right corner for Donetsk and Luhansk region, and we had a few employees. During analysis, I need to say I had 75 people in Ukraine at the moment when the war started, and most of them been working remotely from their home from different cities around Ukraine. So I had 3 employees in this region, and I relocated them to Kiev, and that's been very good decision, including I had 1 employee in Berdyansk and 1 employee in Mariupol. So this city been occupied like in 1 day. So that's been very, very good decision to relocate them to Kiev. What we did, we are a marketplace of designers, and we basically connect designers with startup founder, create task. For example, I need a logo or a website, and we match automatically with the best fit designer in same day, and they start working together inside our app. So basically, that's how it works. When the war started, we added few features to our platform. The first one, when the talent open a platform every day, we've been asking them a few questions, like, are you safe? Yes or no? Most importantly, we've been focusing on the people who don't answer this question and don't log in their account at that particular day, because probably they are in the biggest risk. People who are not safe, we've been just contacting them and discussing how we can help. For example, we had one girl here in Sumy. She been living in a small town, and she been living 2 weeks under occupation. And we planned a secret operation how we rescue her, and basically what's helped. And we had one person in Kherson who been there. We also planned a rescue operation to relocate them from there to this region. And in both cases, we found some local people who know roads through forest, through the land, and we basically paid them a few $100s to evacuate them, and we helped to make fake IDs, remove all possible digital information about this person, because I'm a very public person in Ukraine, and I hugely support Ukraine. And basically, if Russian would find connection of my employees between me, probably that could be a problem for them. So we decided to kind of clean everything possible with what could be Googled about this person and so on. So we did around 5 operations like that, and luckily they were all successful. But it's really very dangerous and random. I know the situation in Israel not the same. Luckily, you have like way more people occupied, so you don't need to rescue them. But yeah, that's what we.
So I want to ask you about that, because
I
read also in your email, like one of the most important things in Ukraine was to really make people safe and bring them to safe places, and really make them environment where they can work still, etc. Which is a little bit different in Israel. I wanted to ask you about like people who went to war. Like, did you have people like that? Did you have people who actually was recruited to go to war? And also about like important people in the company, like developers, salespeople, marketing people. Like, how did you manage with this, for example?
So we had 2 person. They've been not executives, just developer and designer. And in both cases, they voluntarily want to go to an army. So in Ukraine, there are situations like that. If you really don't want to go to an army, there are kind of like gray area how you can hide from army, like just not answer on their letters or so, just not picking up a phone from random numbers. So that's how people who don't want to go to army, that's how they hide. And so what we did, we discussed it with everyone on personal one-to-one. What's your kind of like point of view, how I want to go or not? Are you going to hide or you want to go to army? Two people went there, and we just supported their decision and told them, once you would be back, we would ready to kind of like start working with you again. And we helped them with donation, with like just to kind of like help them to buy ammunition, some basic stuff they would need. um, Most of our team members are not want to go to a bar, and for them we hired a lawyer who knows this area on military recruitment, and there are some procedures. So we just kind of like did a legal workshop on their what they can do and what they cannot do, and basically just provided them some legal and moral help in this way. um, so yeah, I know that some people just kind of like hiding from military recruiters, and basically
Right.
for now it helps them. Right now, Ukraine
So
army, and another point I want to mention that due to demographic crisis in Ukraine, we have a lot of elderly people like 40, 50 years old, and very little people aged like me from 20 to 30. And our government decided at the beginning of the war that they would recruit people who 30 and above, while in my company, middle age around 25 years old. So most of them are not a specific target, but yeah, and
mm,
also Ukraine trying to recruit people from rural area, not from the cities right now. Maybe from economical perspective, because economics is worse in rural area. But that's
right.
right now. So yeah.
So very interesting. What about what I read also? There was a lot of articles reviewing businesses' success in the war in
Yeah.
Ukraine, and what I really
Yeah.
noticed that about the leadership, like even
Yeah.
you as a CEO, as a founder, and many company owners and company CEOs, like were very much in leading their company, their
Yeah.
employees, even taking care of them in the safe way. And
Yeah.
also, how did you do that? Like what like I mean, I tell you, me as a CEO, and also I know a lot of people, we are like 2 weeks shock. It was so
Yeah.
hard to take us back, in life, and like say, okay, we need to move, we need to do things.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
what's your advice for CEOs? Like how do you make leadership like that? What did you do
Yeah.
also with your employees to push it forward?
Yeah, I very detailedly described this in this article. I'll share. You can read after this call. So basically, what we did. Oh, that's me celebrating the birthday on the second day of the war. I just crossed 26 year old in a bunker. It's been very cool. That's my co-founder Stacy and our dog. So yeah, what we did when the war started, we went to the bunker. We added Wi-Fi there, and we started just literally working the whole day and calling our people and basically ask everyone, how are you and what you need? And with every 75 people, we had like few conversations like that during the first week. First week is harder from the mental state, because most of people just shocked, and they kind of like they accepting this new reality. But yeah, after, I would say, after the first months, a lot of people kind of like just adapted, and they, especially when we started getting a first big wins. So for example, during the first months, we pushed Russian from capital, from Kiev, and that's been the first super big win. After that, people, wow, we can beat Russians, so we can kind of like we would not lose this war immediately as everybody thought. So I think that's something similar processes right now going inside Israel, when
Mm-hmm.
people at the first week been kind of super shocked what happened. But right now I feel like it's important to mention for everyone, like, okay, right now situation still hard, but it somewhat stabilized. Israel army super strong. I definitely believe Israel army recruited around 300,000 people, and it's by my personal calculation 3 times more than need for just Gaza. But I think from the military perspective, they did just to cover them from Syria or other neighbor countries, just to protect for potential future threats. So yeah, I think just remind them argument why Israel is so strong, that Israel won all previous wars in some case. So just like focusing on a rational perspective of this situation. And yeah, and just be in touch with the team members. I think especially we've been remote. I don't know, you have an office or also remote workspace?
Okay. Um, what about marketing and sales and growing? Like,
Yeah,
how did you manage to like maintain your growth in this kind
yeah.
of conditions? And well, like, did you rethink your go-to-market strategy in a way? Did you look over your like the way that you did before in a different way because of the
So
war?
So yeah, great question. So right now, war it's more than year and a half, year and 8 months. During 3, 6 months, even maybe seven, we grew around like 3 times. It's been a very big growth out of that. We will just continue doing our typical marketing and sales. Luckily, most of our customers are from US and Europe. So from economical perspective, they've been not affected by the war. From our side, we just need to make sure that on operational level, we would be able to execute these new contracts. So on an operational level, we made everything possible to have safe location in different cities. Like right now, we have 2 hubs, one in Lviv, one in Kiev, where we have generators, we have Starlink, we have the different internet connections. So yeah, even when we would have rocket attacks or electricity shutdowns, we still continue to work in our kind of like underground places. So we just kind of like organized these safe places. That's what we did from company perspective. From sales and marketing, we didn't change it anything. Just been doing regular marketing and sales as we did before the war. We started sharing our story because for people in Europe and US, it's just interesting how kind of startup able to survive this. But I would not say that sharing our story really significantly kind of like bring it to us like new customer, maybe like 5% more than if we would not share our story. So it's just nice to have rather than something important. But very important topic I wanted to cover is that after the first 7 months, I've been in super kind of like rush mode. I've been like working all the time, taking antidepressants to kind of like balance my mood, and I burned it out and went to depression. And that's the most dangerous thing because I would say war was not that bad for our company as having depressed founder. And after that, year after, we almost didn't have any growth because I've been not able to perform as I should. And the biggest mistake when I reflect on that, right now I'm fully recovered. I had a lot of kind of like psychologists. I took different retreats and basically it's helped. But the biggest mistake, I've been not accepting that I'm in depression and I've been still pushing myself. Okay, we need to go, keep going, keep going. Last half year been amazing. Like we can perform more. But instead, I should be take a long break for maybe a few weeks when the situation kind of like really stabilized. After first 3 months, everything really depends on the military. You literally can change, just military can change that. And when you have all offices and operational setup to work in during emergency. Just relied on the military. So for that standpoint, I really would recommend taking care about mental state, taking breaks. The, really, the most dangerous thing if the founder would be depressed and not be able to perform. Um, so yeah, for every founder, it's very personal what helped for them. For me, personal, I found the most significant effect on me. It's a Vipassana meditation. It's a 10 days course when I've been sitting in and just meditating. 10 hours per day, just in my thought, and basically that's what helped me the most. Among other kind of like treatments, psychologists, and so on, I found inner peace in meditation. But for everyone, for some people, it could be even I don't know, extreme sport. Everybody kind of like rest in their own way.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Wow, thank you for sharing. This is really, really important and very, very, very important part. I think we all feel something. We sometimes we don't recognize it, and this is really important.
Yeah.
How did you?
I want to add to this topic that when we finished Y Combinator, they showed us a last kind of like presentation and last words at the end of the program. And what they told, and I remember this world for forever my life, that startup close not because of competitors, not because like outside of environments. Startup close only when founders give up. Because you always can change idea, you always can raise additional round of investment and so on. It really depends on inner founder energy and be able to execute. So basically, in the end, that's the most important thing, just to have this energy to do. So yeah.
Wow, that's super valuable. Thank you. What about how did your client respond to the war? Like, did you lose clients because they weren't sure that you can support them? How did you manage to give them the confidence that they can still trust you?
We had 2 customers, but for us losing 2 customers is not significant because we have thousands of them. So one customer he just charmed during the first day because like he read the news about the war and he didn't want to be kind of like dependent on us. From our side, I need to say that we did really a lot to provide stability for the customers. And basically, on the third day, we've been able to execute 70% of the task. By the end of the first week, we've been covering all 100% of the kind of work we should deliver. And after that, we didn't have any kind of like issues with delivery. So I think customers would charge if you would not deliver to them. And right now I see they typically don't care where we operate in or how we do it. It's our actually job to provide for them a best possible service. What I told my team, I told them like, look guys, yeah, I understand there are war, but our enemy, Russia, they want to destroy us. And basically, as a country, they don't believe Ukrainians exist and so on. So we could accept or we could try to resist. And basically, this idea that someone outside want to destroy us and including our company, it's mobilized our team like, come on, at least for our kind of like employees, at least that there are something I can affect. And I found that during first 3 months, people started working even with more energy to the work to be able like, okay, you want to kind of like do something better for our company. Let's see. I will be able to work more. So I'm super thankful for my team, for their energy that they've been able to kind of like, they found work as a way to utilize their energy and anger they had due to this situation. So yeah, and second customer, we immediately blocked access by IP address from Russia, and we had only one Russia customer, so they just lost access. So yeah.
So what I learned from you is that really the most important thing is to keep the employees really on board and engaged
Yes,
and really
keep
understand
motivation.
motivated because this
Yeah,
is what keeps the company working and going and moving.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, a lot of people underestimate motivation. Like, what is that? What motivation can really do? But it's really so. What's the difference between just developer and 10x developer? Their motivation and interest in dedication to the war, and same like Ukraine and Russia war. Ukraine is smaller country with less people, with I would say 10 times weaker army. And when the war just started, United States and Europe during the first months they didn't supported us with weapons and money. They be just like sending a good words, guys. We with you, good luck, and we wish you success, something like that. But people motivation, even just the regular soldiers in the army, been so much huge. Like, okay, if we would go, we would lose everything. While Russians saw that motivation, they just went for the money. Actually, they Russian paying them $2,000-3,000, and basically there are millions of people in extreme poverty, and for them it's basically just an easy step how they could upgrade from the poverty to a middle class. And that's why a lot of Russians go into a war because like easy money. And this balance between these motivations is huge. And that's why Ukraine with limited resources actually won the first half of the war. Right now it's a second war. There are a bit different situation. But applying this approach even for startups and corporate work, that works the same way. Like that's why startups outperform big corporations, because big corporations, they are fat, they are lazy, they have millions on their accounts, while startups, they are very hungry and so on. So yeah, keeping motivation, it's probably the most important part.
Right. So really short thing, the last two things that I'm really curious is about investment. Like I know
Mm-hmm.
that in war times, like no investor
Yeah.
really like to go in a place which is uncertain. So
Yeah.
how did you manage like with investors?
So we raised almost 1 million during the war. So before war, we raised 2 million. During the war, we raised another million, so 3 million in total of investment in our company. What we did, even during the war, we grow a few times comparing to our previous round. We didn't raise at evaluation. So we provided a very good terms on a previous round valuation. So it's more like kind of a bridge investment on the same terms as a year ago. That's the first thing. So we offered basically a good deal. Second one, we mostly raised it from our current investors and their friends. We didn't contact it with anyone outside, but still we receiving some investment offers from outside. We just don't need money right now, so we're pushing them out. How investor reacted? During the first months, from our close and warm investor circles, we raised that million, and this has been very easy. We just did it over email. I even didn't had any Zoom calls or so with our investors. They just supported us, and we provided them good terms to invest. Once situation stabilized after 3 months of the war, outside investors started reaching out to me, and basically when we discussed it, I found for them its most important part that you as a founder, you would be outside of war zone. So that's why I relocated from Ukraine on 6 months to San Francisco. I don't know the situation. Is it possible to move out for months to outside of Israel? But in Ukraine station, if you are a student in some international university, you may have travel around the world. So I've been a student and I've been able to travel around the world. So yeah, and basically right now when I'm talking with investor, I tell them, okay, I have part of around 50% of my team right now in Ukraine. It's still around 70, 80 people. But still I have founders team and I have main managers outside of Ukraine. Say just fine. So in Ukraine, I left mostly just kind of like builders, developers, designers who do work because we have extremely good talent pool, but we don't have kind of like operational team there who run the asset startup. So
Right.
yeah, for most of investors it sounds safe. They don't care about that until I able to manage my team safety, and so far we've been able to do that. So we didn't have any kind of like
Right.
significant incidents in the past.
And did
So
you
yeah,
use any kind of governmental funds or any
no.
kind of governmental support? Did you have
Um,
access?
Yes, we had access. It's been small grants, like 50K or so. For our business, it's not significant, like one week of expenses. So we didn't apply it. It's mostly for a smaller type of companies. But I know a lot of kind of like smaller startups. They apply it. For example, what Google did, they allocated $5 million and they spread these $5 million among like hundreds of small startups, and they just like 25, 50K that they sent for them. So that's been for some startups a good chunk of money. So yeah. But
Right.
I would say I'm trying to run my startups almost all the time break even or even with profit. Have you read this Default Alive article by Paul Graham?
Uh, Not sure.
Have you read Default Alive or Default Dead article by Paul Graham?
No, let
Probably
me
no.
see.
Okay, I'll share you this link. So I highly recommend this article. I'll share in the chat. Yeah, just share. So Paul Graham, it's a founder of Y Combinator. He wrote this article. It's about two potential states of your startup. Whatever you alive or your startup is dead, and it's just matter of the time. So basically, to be alive, you just need to try to run a profitable startup as a just regular business, and that's what I try to do, and not being dependable on anyone. So yeah, I'm just trying to have a positive cash flow, and
Yeah.
basically that's the best advice I can suggest if it's possible. Okay, it really depends on the stage, but yeah.
Right. Right. Wow. Okay. I mean, that was a lot of good stuff. I mean, it's some companies in Israel are a little bit in a different situation.
Yeah,
The biggest challenge in Israel is that many people are recruited to the army. You know, in Israel, it's the
yeah,
opposite. Most of young people, and that they are who are going to the army, who are basically finished the army not far away ago, and then
yeah.
now. So there's a lot of developers, a lot of salespeople, a lot of marketing people, a lot of really important people for the
Hmm.
company are in the
Hmm.
army, and this is a
Hmm.
big challenge. Like from your experience, do you know any company like this, or do you know any other suggestion that you might share with us? Um,
So yeah, in Ukraine, we also had that they army recruited people to them, and more than 100 companies we united and we made an open letter to government to be able to protect the most significant people for each company. There are a few people like CTO for the company and so on. So after that, our government built a program for companies who have like 10 more employees and they kind of like paying taxes and so on in Ukraine, they can block from military recruitment. That's happened after a year of the war. And I would not say there are a lot of people block it. So we have like 500,000 people who work on the startups and in tech in Ukraine, and around 3,000 and a half people block it from military recruitment. So just literally more than less than 1%, but they did it. And I don't know local Israel situation, but we had a very kind of like pro startup minister who been actively communicating, and via him we'll be just literally pushing him every day, sending messages, tons of messages. And they did this program. Maybe that might be because, like, I know for Israel, startup in tech industry very important, at least even for economic. And if you may use arguments like, okay, you can recruit just like, I don't know, regular developer or designer, but if you would take our CTO, it would destroy the whole company. So maybe it's better like we can protect at least like few specific people. So that might work. But cooperating with the government is always very slow process. So I just would suggest a strong determination. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah.
Okay, Roman, thank you so much. I appreciate your
Yeah.
time and your message here. Like, what if you would, if you would talk now to other people like hearing you, what would you tell them? We are now just 2 weeks after the crisis. We actually don't really know where it's gonna go, and it's gonna be long,
Yeah.
I think, and that's
Yeah.
the really fear that we have.
Yeah. So what I understand from my 10 days meditation that everything is temporary. Temporary. After dark, there are always a sunset, or after sunset, there are always sunrise. So if you see outside and it's very dark outside, remember that tomorrow morning sun would wake up and then it would be sunny day. So everything is temporary. So I would just like suggest that just keep going, guys. Don't give up. They just want you give up your enemies, but I definitely believe you would never give them even a close chance. It's a challenge, you know. Just go through this challenge as much as you could, and remember about mental state and taking a rest. As I didn't took, it's my probably biggest advice would be, and yeah, yeah.
Never give up, basically. We
Never
never give
give
up.
up. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, Roman, thank you very much, and we'll be in
Yeah.
touch. And I'll see. I might share some parts of the video I have on Thursday with some people, but it's really different hours. So
Okay.
I'll let you know, and maybe if you be happy, we might give you another call with the startup community that I'm
Yeah.
advisor there, and it will be very nice to hear you.
Yeah. I would be super happy to help if needed. And if you have any more questions or so, feel free to ping me out. I'm always around, and
And if you have
I'm with
also,
Israel people. So
thank you,
yeah,
yeah,
guys, I really
and if you
support
have
you.
and if you have other companies like you that you know, like colleagues and stuff from the startup world,
Yeah.
maybe I it would be very good to hear people like you. Like I know that I have good friends, family that have small companies that are just starting,
Yeah.
and they're very in a very difficult situation. They're just starting, they're just recruiting the first clients, and getting money now. It's really very very tough for them, and some people are in the army, so it would be good to hear a lot of point of views, like how other people
Hmm.
dealt with this situation.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. If I
Okay,
would have someone in
thank
mind,
you,
I would
Roman.
super happy. Yeah.
Thank you, and
Yeah.
I'll be in touch with you.
Yeah. We stand with Israel. Wishing good luck, guys. Peace.
Thank
See
you.
you soon.
We
Bye
stand with
bye.
Ukraine, and you're gonna
Thank
beat
you.
Russia, the big Russia.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Thank you. Have a nice evening. Bye bye.
Bye bye.